And I know that's kind of a broad sweeping statement. And how do I make money with such a thing? And I'm going to show you how we've been making money, because it has just been playing statistically just the way that we believe that it would based off of our levels, and not anything other than that. I know the news has been very hot this week with Iran. Um, I don't know, Fed minutes, you name it. It's been a topic of discussion. Japanese yen, 10-year, right? Like all this stuff that I see, and I just bring to you as a piece of like, well, has the market cared? No, it hasn't yet. Will it? Maybe. I don't know. But I can tell you statistically that it was a pretty simple place to buy the market yesterday because it was where it was supposed to be. And let me show you. So I trade the NQ a lot. What's been the driver? What do I always talk about? SMH. Where was SMH yesterday? Pre-market, which right before the open, it went down here and tagged S2. 563.42. And let's just go widescreen. I'm live. I'm in no hurry to just make a clip. 563.42. You see this big red candle right here. The bottom of that was 563.71. Where are we trading today? $614 from yesterday pre-market. That was at 4 a.m. We open, and all we do yesterday is go up and hit resistance at S1. Now what are we doing? We built a base on S1 and we are heading higher. It's level to level. It's not news story to news story or theory to theory. I can feed you theory all day, and I don't think that would help any of us, including me. The other big thing with this S2, and I've touched on it several times in my pre-market roadmap, my post-market roadmap, or my post-market summaries. S2 on SMH, we have only closed below that on a monthly closing basis. We've only closed below S2, okay, which this month S2 is 563.42. We've only closed below S2 on a monthly closing basis. I believe it was 4.5% of the time over a 10-year period. So I think it was 124 months that I analyzed. We've had basically a 95% of the time over 10 years, we close above S2 every month on SMH. So wherever S2 is on SMH for the month, we close above that. That makes it a pretty simple place to buy yesterday, because I know, and you know if you've been following me, that whatever SMH does, the NASDAQ is going to do. And as you can see, the NASDAQ is going higher. And guess what else is going higher? SMH. Like I said, we're trading 613. Yesterday, we were trading 563. Like, follow that. That's not theory or logic. That is the fact that NVIDIA, Avgo, which is Broadcom, TSM, all these semiconductors are the ones driving the market. And that'll take ES higher. That'll take the NASDAQ higher. So yesterday, when we were on here pre-market, I said, hey, we have tagged S2 on SMH. We only closed below that about 5% of the time over a 10-year period. There's no better place to buy, because one, I've got a level that tells me if I'm wrong, and two, if it goes down below this level, I'm just going to get out and wait to get back in, because I know statistically we only close down here about 4.5% of the time. And I need to get something to draw on my screen when I talk about that. So I could just put 4.5% on a monthly basis. We're not going to close down here very often at all. Now, how do we play today? That's all that matters in the rest of the week. As long as you hold 599.35 on SMH, you have to look higher towards 634. What would be beautiful for SMH would be a retest of that 599.35 area. So just call it 600. You get a retest there and a hold. You keep looking higher. If it fails, then we definitely start looking back towards 563 and maybe even farther, which is fine. Because to me, if it goes down in there farther this month and it breaks 563, let's say, that's just better. That's a discounted buying opportunity on SMH and for the NASDAQ. Let's look at the NASDAQ because there's a crucial level there that we have been playing and that I've been talking about that is important. And it's already been important today. Weekly pivot, 29,566. When we started Tuesday, all eyes on this pivot. We were right here. I said, if it breaks, you have to look lower. What did it do? It broke and ran down 400 points or so, 350, bounced right back to the pivot. If you can see my screen right here, ran right back to the pivot. That was resistance. We come back down, go back to the pivot. And eventually, what do? We have the whatever news, and Trump's talking at NATO at 4 o'clock our time in the morning, Central Time, and we get this big break. But immediately you get a back above 29,050. This is the trade that I missed yesterday because I wasn't here. Broke back above it, and then you get a beautiful, perfect retest of that zone. So if you bought 29,050 yesterday, you're sitting here at 29,750. So 700 points higher on the NQ on a very easy trade to ride right now. As long as we hold 29,566, you have to look towards 30,299. Just call it 30,300. That is your next target. It's as long as it stays above this. Would I love a beautiful retest of this morning that I can buy? It wouldn't bother me one bit. There'll be a few ways that I'm trying to play that. Outside of that, MU did the thing yesterday as well. I talked about it pre-market because not only was SMH bottoming on S2, so was MU. That is a major level, and I had alerts set there to just let me know when we got into that zone. And these are major buying opportunities for the month. And what's great about that is statistically, you just know we're in the very bottom of the range for the month. And then, if it breaks it, you're wrong. You get out and you wait for it to either get down here to S3 or reclaim and test to take off. And you can see just a beautiful bottom here at 875. And today we're trading $1,010. Don't make it harder than it is what I'm trying to communicate to everybody. You can make trading very hard, and that is something that just so simple, level after level. Now I do have the knowledge of how these are calculated, and I know how accurate they are, but over time, if you stay in here, you're going to understand how accurate they are as well. So let's see, moving forward, NVIDIA. I know that me and Phil were on the phone the other day, and he got some NVIDIA. He was just wanting to buy, nibble on a few stocks, and he bought some NVIDIA above this pivot line. And right now he's up about $10, and he actually bought some 40-day options on it, I think, call options. So that's sitting really nice. But like I said, I've had my thought on NVIDIA for quite some time here, just based on the fact that the semiconductor fluctuation up and down on several of the names did not affect NVIDIA. It just kind of sit here and accumulated, and that's going to lead to higher prices, in my opinion. And a higher price for this month would be 221, and it will do what it wants to do. But if you're buying it around that 194 level and you're already up $10, just manage that risk and you'll be just fine. There was one other name I was wanting to touch on. I had been paying attention to Avgo as well, and I talked about it pre-market. And this pivot around this 371, you can see we were trying to break it. And I always talk about when you snuggle up to a pivot, like when you just get up to a pivot and we're not having major reactions off of it. We just it's like a magnet. It just keeps drawing you back. You can see the explosion that happened there. It's trading 403. That pivot was at 371 and some change. So that is two things that I've been talking about since the beginning of the week. Just saying that, hey, the farther down SMH goes at the beginning of the week, the easier it's going to be to buy. It's going to be to buy the NASDAQ. It's going to be to buy the S&P, because we're getting in the bottom of that zone, and that matters. Now, for me, I'm going to be watching upside targets pretty close, because when I look at the bigger picture, yeah, we've got this great bounce in tech, right? We know that SMH is a big driver of that, but we also, so one thing for me for SMH is going to be this 617 level right here. That was a major inflection point. It's kind of the last week's weekly pivot right here. That level will matter. It's going to matter. So I'll be watching that on my time frames. I'm just aware of this last week's pivot area, and you can see we're right to that right now. So let's talk about scenarios on how I would play this. And if you just sit here and watch this, this is what I would do. I'm going to look for a retest to 607. And then at that point, I would buy the NASDAQ, because it'll probably be retesting a key level at that point too. If you get a retest and a fell, watch out below. It's going to take off, because all this is a great dead cat bounce. Statistically, where it should bounce, right? That is where it's going to bounce at least once, but that does not mean that it doesn't roll back over and come back down here. So I will be watching those levels to see what we do. Do we stay above 607 and with a retest? Great. Look for 632. If we break that, you have to start looking down at these lower levels again and know that we're coming off in here, and probably in a hurry would be my guess. They're not going to do it slow. They won't be nice about it if they do that, because all they did was trap, got everybody in, and they trap. Here is the Dow. You can see, now we've got the NASDAQ's up, what, 300, and you've got the Dow just sitting here up 0.14%. Now remember, and I talked about this too, and they'll do this till you're exhausted of seeing it. When the NASDAQ was having all the red days, let me just put them side by side so I can show you. When the NASDAQ was having all of its issues, let me just put them on the same time frame chart at least, so it makes sense when you look at it. What was the Dow doing? It was running higher. See how that, I'm trying to line them up for you. So you can see when we were having issues over here in the NASDAQ, we had this little run up and it started down. The Dow kept going higher about for a day and a half, almost 2 days right here. It just kept going. Well, now that the NASDAQ is recovering, the Dow is just sitting down here flat, and they will do that. They will rotate in and out of the Dow, and the Russell will have good days, and the NQ will have bad days. And then they will have, the NQ has good days and the Russell has bad day. And then the NQ and Russell are okay, and the Dow's bad. They're very good at doing that. And what that does is just hangs the S&P right here. right here in the middle. It just kind of relaxes. Yesterday it got a little red on the war stuff pre-market, but other than that, it just hangs out and doesn't do a lot. Doesn't have big ranges. It's up 0.24%, where the Nasdaq's up 0.9. They're very masterful at doing that. I seen an article this morning that said, I was wondering if it affected Meta, that there was a major city that had some type of deadly bacteria in their water, and it had been linked to one of Zuckerberg's data centers. And that stock is currently down about $25 pre-market. So that's an interesting tidbit that keep your eye on. Just interesting to me on multiple fronts, not just the fact of the stocks going down, but how are we getting bacteria backfed from a data center into the city's water table or the water lines? I thought it was 2026. I mean, I could see something when technology and ideas and engineering, and we didn't have the ability as just regular people to tap into some of the really powerful AI. I can't imagine what these guys use and how they use it. And they are having problems with bacteria backfeeding into the city's water source. That blows me away. But that's just my thought on that. Let me see what else I've got. Apple's been holding, it's the AI position where they didn't spend any money, but they are positioned to absorb any AI stuff as far as implement it into their devices, but they haven't went out and spent all this money to be a big leader in AI. So I find that intriguing. And that's one reason that it's been having better days, even when some of these names have been getting slaughtered. Let's look at the shiny metals. Got a few guys that are playing those, and the levels have been playing well there. Also, yesterday there was about a 70-point bounce that you could catch just off of a basic level. And as you can see for the week, it's still under that pivot. If it can regain that 41.40, you look higher towards 42.57, 42.75. We are holding the monthly pivot, which we did retest yesterday right here. And that was a buying opportunity on gold right down here towards this 40.25. Did it get there exact? No, it missed it by about 10 points, but that is a very great place to take risk. If you're wanting to buy gold, you can start a position there. And of course, we didn't get there. Like I said, you missed it by 10 points. So depending on your risk tolerance, you could have taken that, and now it's trading 100 handles higher. So one contract on gold, one futures contract, that's $10,000. So if you bought one long gold contract right here, that's a $10,000 play in about less than 24 hours. Just keep that in mind. That's how powerful the levels are and how powerful you can trade them. What else do we have? I don't have much else. I watched the VIX yesterday pretty close because I was anticipating this volatility index just to inform my day traders and my actual traders. We had the huge spike. We had the retest with the spike here of the monthly pivot, but then we had the failure. I watched the failure twice. Like, we had the breakdown of it yesterday, and that of course helps markets. And then we had the touch and die here as well. So that's all things that I've been watching and paying attention to, and not trying to get caught up thinking. Just get caught up in the fact of, hey, we can make money with this by just trading our levels because I know there's a lot of negative news out there right now. And oil, let's look at it also because we know that that's a hot topic. You know, when I look at oil right now, there's either one or two things that are happening to me. And that's why I'm planning on monthly and weekly levels, just waiting for major levels to set up. We are either, this market is so strong that it doesn't care what's going on in the global economy. It doesn't care what's going on really anywhere but here at home. And unemployment, jobs, housing data, everything has been on point. And I mean, there's some, there's some sticky places, inflation here, there, whatever, right? Okay. But the market seems so strong that they've thrown a lot at it the past week, and it hasn't mattered. We had the major sell-off in chips, but I mean, they were, they'd ran so hard. It's more of just not even a sell-off to me. It was just more of a standard correction from their overextension. But kind of quietly in the background, all this other stuff is corrected a bunch. Microsoft, Meta, a bunch of the Mag 7 have moved 10, 15% down from their highs. And now you have these chips that were overextended, SanDisk, ALAB, a bunch of them. I mean, the list goes on. MU, AMD that just ran out of the world. And now they've kind of just had a normal pullback. It's an interesting spot because now do they all run together? So that's kind of what I'm sitting there in my mind thinking, like, boy, these could all get teed up and go higher together now because, like I said, the Mag 7s had a pullback. The chips have pulled back. Have they pulled back as much as some people believe they should? Absolutely not. But I get it. Like, don't think that way. Use the levels. So yesterday when SMH was at the monthly S2, it's like outside of everything you can think about statistically, okay, that's all we base it off of. 95% chance for the month we close above that level. Why do you not take that trade and use it to your advantage? So that's the opportunities that I'm looking for on monthly and weekly time frames, because I know statistically when we're in the bottom of the month or the top of the month, the bottom of the week or the top of the week, and we use that to leverage our trades. So like I said, one or two things though, back to my point, this market is so strong that it's either it won't go down, or two, they're pushing it towards a cliff edge, and when it goes down, it's going to go fast. I don't think, for me personally, I don't think there's a very good in-between ground right now. It either stays hot and goes hotter, or it dies all at once, and it's going to be like, oh man, look out below. And we'll just use our levels to guide us on that, and see what happens. But it's one of the two, because you've got the straight over there. At this point, I don't even know why they talk about the straight, because it hasn't affected us a bit yet. And so it's like either the straight is important or it's just a talking point for rattling heads on TVs. And I'm starting to feel like it's a talking point for rattling heads on TVs, because it has made zero outcome on. I mean, look at oil. I mean, just look at it. It had that major spike, and then that's been it. But I know the reserves are drained, and you can go on with all this logic and theory all day. And that's why it's just like, I'll just play the levels. Yesterday, oil spiked into 78, couldn't hold it. Now we're trading 72. Like, pretty simple trade there. Oil held the pivot, and you look higher, right? Like, it's like, why is oil going down? Iran's still shooting ships, and our reserves, like, it does. Somebody somewhere knows, but we're not those guys. And I can theorize on it. I could give you all the theory you want. At the end of the day, let me tell you what's tradable. 75.26 and 69.98. So 70 and 75.25. That's tradable. Outside of that, I can just sit here and gossip your head full of crap, and it's not going to matter because they are going to do what they want to do with oil. Let me see what else I want to talk about. I don't think I have anything else going on. I see Nigel's in my morning. Nigel, I don't have that mic on over there. Probably can't hear me. I'll jump on and say good morning, brother. I'm doing a live on Substack. If you want to jump over there, I can share it here.
Hey, man, what's up, buddy?
I'm just doing this live. You want me to share it over here? You good?
I'm good. I'll come over.
Okay.
Come over there?
Yeah, man, we're just on Substack. I'm going to see if Tim's out there and we're just hanging out.
Okay, buddy, I'll be over there, man.
All right. Yep.
Okay, son.
Let me get my Substack chat pulled up. All right. There's chat. Tim, are you on? I see you joined. Let me see if I can invite a few people. Let's send an invite. Let's send an invite to Marty Gold. I've never talked to him, but he does a lot of theory on. I won't send it to him. I'll send it to Tim. Did I send you an invite? I don't know if you're on here. You usually text back pretty quick if you're listening. I'm going to send an invite. Let me see. All right. Well, Nigel, I will jump back into Discord and we can hang out there. I don't have Tim over here. I don't have you on my list to send you a link for some reason, but we will figure it out. Trade the levels. Let me recap NQ really quick because this will be what's important today. And you've heard this level all week. 29,566 will be an important level. If we hold that, you look higher. 30,299 on the weekly target, okay? And they play target to target. Can they get hung up and retest? Of course. Target to target. Use your free daily levels to guide you there. We got about 7 minutes to the open. That's what I'm going to be watching here on the NASDAQ. If we hold this level, you have to look higher. We can always cross-reference it with SMH as well. And I will be keeping both of those on my plate just because they're both going to be relevant to how I trade the NASDAQ. And we're kind of getting up towards this last week's pivot right here. So I'll be paying attention to that. It's not a level that I'm going to use as an over under currently. I'm going to wait for a retest, or right now you're targeting 623. So those are what we're going to do in our side and just see how this plays out today. I'm going to be patient with a few ideas, but I will definitely be watching the NQ for a retest of 29,566. If that holds, let's look higher. And if not, you know the drill. It's going to be, if it breaks through it, it's resistance until proven otherwise. So, all right. As always, we will talk soon, and I'll be back. Nigel, I'll see you over in our Discord, man.